Shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Karkadash, the honors to the apostles and those of the GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are doing in truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of faith who follow. So, as you can see, I wanted to go into Order Out of Chaos. I'm at the website orworldtoday.com, and it's a pretty good website. I'll leave it in the description. Um, but yeah, it really dives deep into the subject. So we're just gonna, go through the website and it's gonna post some examples, and I'll get some scriptures to go along as well. It says the puppet masters create disorder, so the people will demand order. The price of order always entails a a handing over of control and loss of freedom on the part of the citizenry. Out of chaos comes order, their new world order. Okay, so the they that is speaking of, those so-called puppet masters, are what we know as the 1%, or the top 1%, the elites. Okay, and the scriptures speak about them as well. Um, it says Psalm 64:2 says, "Hide me from the counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity." That's speaking of the elites, because we know that they have the agenda to depopulate the world. We know they have the agenda to humanize robots and robotize humans, along with the charagma and so on and so forth. As you continue in the scripture, it says, "Who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot arrows, even bitter words," because they control everything. Or they control governments, they control money, they control pretty much all aspects of our living. So they're going to use this order out of chaos in order to enact their so-called new world order. Okay, um, said that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly, do they shoot at him and fear not? Because they don't have any fear that the perfect, who are the Lord's chosen, okay, the true chosen, are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that they're going to be confounded. Okay, the thought is that their houses shall continue. Uh, no, I'm butchering the scripture. The inner thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So let's go back over here. It says Oral Today will list some historical and present day examples of chaotic events that achieve the aims of the that will achieve the aims desired by the powers to be. The list by no means is complete, but should give people a general idea. And that's really all we want, is an example or a general idea of what they have planned. Okay, it says the trick of creating chaos and then seizing power under the pretense of putting things back in order is a tried and true method of deception and manipulation. Is the meaning behind the Latin motto "Ordo ab chaos," meaning order out of chaos. It is also referred to as the Hegelian dialect, after the philosopher George Hegel, who wrote about its effectiveness. He described it as thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Others have described it as problem, reaction, solution. It's all the same. There's a problem, or well, I guess it. I'll have to break it down. It says, in that first you create the problem, then secondly you fan the flames to get a reaction, then thirdly, like Johnny on the spot, you provide a solution. The solution is what you were wanting to achieve in the first place, but would not have been able to achieve it under normal circumstances. And that's how it's going to play out here in America, and along with the rest of the world as well. We have a established government in the world, not a one world government, but a system that all countries independently operate and they do their own things. They have their little councils or whatnot, which is a whole nother lesson. But right now, there's a way of doing things that the world is used to, so to speak. All right, so the elite's plan is to throw that out of whack. Okay, introduce a little chaos, like the Joker said. You know, when he gave Two Face the coin. Introduce a little chaos and see what happens. So, once you get the world uh, turned upside down, so to speak, and everything's all shuffled, then that's when you can come in with a solution. All right, so Slovakia. Orwell described it as reality control. In 1984, uh, this is a movie. He said the rocket bombs which fell daily on London were probably fired by the government of Oceania itself just to keep people frightened. And that's what you have. You'll have false flag attacks here in America just to keep people frightened, just to keep people off balance, so that you have control of their reality. And the people here in America are sheeple. They don't have control of their reality. They really believe that two hijackers, you know, broke into the control room of two planes and crashed them into buildings, crashed them into the Washington, the Pentagon. What about Building 7? Did they crash into Building 7 as well, which also was imploded? But no bomb hit it. It was down the street and around the corner type deal. But they don't have control of their reality. Everything that's fed to them, they just eat. Okay, it's like a bird or a duck. We when I was a kid, we used to go to this park and my mom would give us some bread and we feed the ducks and whatever we threw at them, they would eat. So these people are just like that. They're being head fed breadcrumbs and they believe everything that they're told. If it's on the news, then it's true. If it's me or you saying it, then I don't know about them guys. Where did they go to school? Who taught them anything? Especially if you are of this skin tone and not of a hoary head. If you're a young man, or if even if you are a older man, if you ain't got no church behind you or a degree behind you, they don't really care. A prophet is not um, recognized in his own city. So there are literally hundreds of examples of this method being used effectively throughout the course of history. A well-known example is the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which resulted in the United States entering in the Second World War. Chaos was created, and so chaos was required, and so chaos was created, and that's how it works. So I want to jump into couple of subjects because, like I said, it's actually a pretty good website. Let's go to the Cashless Society. So it says Big Brother intends to control the monetary and economic affairs of individuals and nations by means of a cashless society. Now that people are used to electronic transactions and phasing out of hard currency will accelerate, the next steps will be to will next step seems to be the vilification and elimination of certain denominations. Next would be the adoption of smart cards and ultimately smart people. As I said, robotizing humans and humanizing robots. So then implanted with, I don't want to use that word, but you can see this word right here, for verification. Um, and that's sad that you can't even use, simple words like that. Just because I want people to actually see this video. I don't want to get flagged, so I'll say the Charagma because you're going to be using the Charagma, which is an implanted device in their hand for verification. Okay, that's what the world is leading to, and it gives an example. And this is an excerpt from an article. It says a rash of counterfeit money created on a cheap computer equipment has several large Canadian businesses refusing to accept the $100 bills, and the program could lead to a crisis of confidence in the nation's cash. Numerous retailers and restaurants are no longer accepting them at all. Some are also not accepting the $50 denominations for the fear the counterfeit problem is spreading. So, what's the problem? The problem is what? Matter of fact, the problem is money. You know, they want the problem is uh. All right, so I'll say the order. The order is, we have money to do everything. What's the chaos? Well, we're gonna start uh, printing off fake money so that you don't know whether it's real money or whether it's fake. So protect everybody. Here comes that white knight. We're gonna put everything on a card. Okay, you put everything on a card. Well, somebody can steal my card. Well, if we put it on this, CHIP, you know, then put it into your hand or to your skin, then nobody can steal it. So that's that order out of chaos. That's what is being preached. And not just only that, it's going to happen in all aspects of society, not just this cashless example, which is a great example. Um, but let's see if we can. Let's go to the Health Crusaders. What do they have to say? Ever heard the expression, it's playing out right before our eyes, before our very eyes? Well, people in Toronto in 2003 have a ringside seat, and many of them are involuntary bit part actors. It's a trial run for the Health Crusaders, coming to a town near all of us, depending on the success of this debut performance. Now, listen to this, because this is from 2003. The actors have all been given their script, and they're playing out open scenes. Here's the general plot. Act 1, SARS. I know y'all remember the SARS crisis. From that you have SARS, you have Mars, and now to the 19. And this is definitely a pre-runner. All right, so you have the cast of characters, the World Health Organization, government officials, healthcare personnel, cops, the public, and armed forces. Okay, so it says the government makes a new law giving itself totalitarian powers in case of an emergency. An emergency is created. In this case, it was SARS. I guess the previous year to that, it was West Nile virus, which I remember West Nile. And today, we have the 19. But it says the Minister of Health declares an emergency, which happened. Uh, so it shuts down the hospital. The police seal off the area with yellow tape and metal masks and gloves. All right, it says thousands of people are told to wear masks at home. It says, how is that going to be enforced? Well, we know how it's going to be enforced because we're living in this situation right here. It's telling us, giving us a clear example, and this example has came to life. It says isolation for 10 days is recommended. Were we not for a year on lockdown in our homes? You had to be, quote, essential to get out. All right, this isn't just a story on the internet. This is a prophecy. This happened. You know, so it says after another hospital shuts its door acutely, ill people on the orders after another hospital shuts its doors to acutely ill people on the orders of its so and so, you know, based on a mere suspicion that someone from the original hospital had been transferred there, even though the person did not show symptoms, it may not still be a patient. Waiting to see if these measures are sufficient. Government warns that it may use its new powers to suspend even more civil liberties in order to keep everyone safe. Which you had them, you can't go outside, you can't do this, you can't if you want to. which we're going through right now, you have to be maximized in order to do certain things. If you get the max, then you can do this. If you don't get the max, you can't do that. You know, so it says to it says I suggest you stay in your seats. Well, standing ovation because this is exactly what's happening now. We're going through this, and as I was saying before, this is just another aspect. There's going to be total chaos, as in people in the streets, as in what's described in um, Isaiah 13. Now, what I want to give first is Isaiah 13 and 12. It says, "I will make a man of precious. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir." Okay, so he's going to make his men, okay, the men who sigh and cry for the abominations who will be done therein, all right, the elect men are going to be, he compares it to fine gold, okay, because that's how precious and that's how valuable the men of the Lord are going to be in these days of order out of chaos. Fuck it. It says, "Therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Most High, the Lord of hosts, in that day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chased roe, and the sheep that no man taketh up." Okay, when you think of a roe is a deer, and a chase roe, if you have a lion or a predator chasing like an antelope or an impala, then how it weaves in and out is craziness, and that's how people's mindset are going to be in that day. It's going to be utter craziness. They're not going to have the scriptures to fall back on because when it was made available to them, they regarded it not. So you're going to have the people in that chase road craziness mindset. It says, "They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword." So you're going to have people being killed. You're going to have race riots. You're going to have people uh, ganging, should I say, this group or that group or that group. You're not going to have this rainbow coalition that we have in these times. All right, it's going to be real serious when you're going to have, a civil war, a race war, a world war, all going on simultaneously. You know, it's going to be pure and utter chaos, in which that's what they want. They want that because when they come with the solution, then they can take away those liberties, okay, and do what? Bring the order out of the chaos. That's their goal. But it's a good thing the Most High is dealing with order out of chaos as well, because once all these chaotic things happen, which I'll before I get that, I'll jump into a second Ezra's real quick. And Second Ezra 15-14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for their sword and their destruction draweth nigh, is coming close. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, uh, and swords in their hands." So you're going to have people clashing with each other with weaponry, because the modern day sword is also a gun. It's also a nuclear weapon. It could be, a microwave ray. Um, there's so much technology these days. Anything that's a piercing or anything that is a weapon can be considered the modern day sword. All right. Verse 16, "For there should be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So sedition among men is basically bucking up against the order, the government. Okay, overthrowing the government. All right, not listening to authority. What's that going to do? That's going to throw the existing order into flux, into what? Into chaos. So this is the Bible speaking about the coming destruction, the coming chaos that is. Okay? It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because of the martial law. All right, you're not going to be able to exit the city or come from the country and go into the city or go from city to city to city. All right, they're going to block off everything to do what? To keep order. That's part of the civil liberties that will be taken. You're not going to be able to freely travel as you want to. All right, that's just like we read um, in the article. You know, thousands of people were told to wear masks at home. How's that going to be enforced? Or to isolation for 10 days is recommended. How is all that going to be enforced? Well, once they have the army, and they bring in, these foreign troops or whatnot, that's going to be easily enforced. It hasn't happened yet, but that's not to say it's not going to happen because the Bible speaks about it, so it's definitely going to happen. There's going to come a time, just like in Katrina, where you had Humvees on, at the major uh, highways and byways. It may not be on every corner, but like I'll give you an example here in Omaha. Dodge is the main street, the main vein, which flows through and separates the north side from the south side. So you're gonna have them on Dodge. You're gonna have them on every main street. Center Street, Pacific Street, Ames, Maple, Blondo, all these main streets, and then you'll have them on the east to west streets as well. You'll have them on 30th. You have them on 42nd. You have them on 52nd and 60th, 72nd and 90th, on up. And this is just Omaha, and these are the main streets. So when you do a grid and you do the north, south, and the east, west, you're gonna have those checkpoints. And in order to get through, you're probably gonna have to show some kind of ID. More than likely, with the 19 going around, you're gonna have to show your card, your vaccination. This is just me speaking as the man, but is it far off? Is it, we know in part and we prophesy in part. And this is a very well likely scenario. And what does it say about the people? It says, for their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It's going to be a frightening time in that day. It's the day of Jacob's trouble, a time that never was. So you're going to have people in these feelings. All right. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods for the lack of bread and for great tribulation. It's going to be, just as the scripture says, the love of many shall wax cold. All right. It's going to be a time where, if you got something, I need it, I want it, I'm going to take it. And you're also going to have people willing to defend it. You have these so-called preppers out here in their communities, or they got their bug out spots, and they have loads of guns and loads of ammo, loads of food and water and toilet paper and all kind of different uh, uh, substance in order to stay themselves. Okay, but you also have the men of the Lord. Okay, you have the ones who believe in this thing and believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, who are willing and able in that day, because the Lord is going to have that hedge around them, that hedge of protection. They're going to be able to survive this. Okay, through faith and through works. This is going to be a crazy time, but it's also going to be a beautiful time because that's going to be closer and closer and closer to the Lord coming back and delivering His people. So I made a statement a little bit ago. Yeah, so this is the matter of fact. Let me give one other scripture. Uh, yeah, so this is Job 20. I'll start at verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, his being the elites who are planning this New World Order takeover, Okay, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. He's going to be in hard times. It says every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And let's get this word wicked. It says the word amal. It says laborer, sufferer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer, toiling. Who who is the one who is uh laboring, who's suffering in this place? It's us. It's the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. So it's not talking about a wicked individual in the sense that we know it as wicked, but it's speaking of a particular people who are going through, who are really enduring the wickedness that they're putting on us. Or it says that we're going to be upon him. The Lord is going to endow us with the power. The Lord is going to come back with his heavenly angels, and he's going to upset their plans to set up this new world order. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So, as I said, while once he tries to establish this new world order, he's going to be upset. Okay. Then it goes into speaking about the ICBM missiles from there, which that's a whole nother lesson. We'll just get this last scripture and we'll end it on this because, like I said, I made a statement about the Lord also um, delves into order out of chaos because right now, in the beginning, I'll say, you had Adam, and Adam was meant to be perfect and live an upright life. Adam went off. So now that's the chaos been thrown in. Now the chaos has been building ever since, and eventually there's going to be order. What does that order look like? Okay, first off, the scripture says that Jacob held first the hill of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. This is Isaiah 2:2. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in the last days, that the mountains of the Lord's house shall be established in the top in the top of the mountains, and should be exalted above all hills, and all nations shall flow unto it." Now, when that speaks about mountains, it's talking about governments. So the Most High's government is going to be established over all the other nations. All right, let's get that straight. Verse 3 it says, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of, or the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his way, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." Okay, so all the other nations are going to flow into us, their wealth, and they're going to pay tribute. That 10% of all the best of everything is going to flow into us, and they're going to keep the laws. We're going to govern over them, and that's going to be the order out of the chaos that is now, that we've been experiencing all of our lives and all of our past lives, pretty much. And we're going to have that heavenly abode, that heavenly house to live. Okay, we're gonna have the law written in our inward parts. We're not gonna go off. It's gonna truly be the order out of the chaos. Uh, Verse 4 says, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks." Uh, It says, "Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore," because there's not going to be a need for these different weapons. There's not going to be a need to go to war with one another, because we're going to be in a perfect utopia. As they want their Esau wants his utopia, the Lord has his utopia already planned. It's been planned from the jump. All right, so with that being said, I hope you were edified, and we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Karkadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners, sure during the truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of faith who follow. Shalom.